Shabbat Shalom, family. Shabbat Shalom. All right, this is the second half. We're going to rock and roll, get this thing moving. Got to get it going. Iman, where you go so fast? All right. So this is that portion of the day, family, where we give a commandment to the Creator. Iman, are you present? Okay. Maybe she ain't present. All right. So this is how we're going to start it off, family. Anyone would like to give a commandment for the day? You can just type it in the room and we will take the commandment, read the commandment, or you can take the invite and come on the platform and you can speak. Shalom.
Shalom, baby. You call me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
If anybody have a commandment today, you can say your commandment, or you can type it in the room and we'll post the commandment on the screen, or you can hit the link and you can come in and you can say your own commandment. It's the 4 o'clock hour. It's time for us to get started. It might look like you the first one here. You got about 3-4 people in the background in your room, so maybe everybody could give a commandment. That would be nice. Let's see.
Okay. So the commandment I have is in the book of Exodus, chapter 12.
Your microphone is going in and out.
It's the internet. It's been doing that today. So, and it reads, verse 7, and they shall take of the blood and strike it on the 2 side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses wherein they shall eat. And then verse 8 says, and they shall eat the flesh in that night, and roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. So it's kind of like a continuation of the law I did last year. And when I opened up my Tanakh, that it was on that, so I kept with it. But this is talking about the Passover time, and so it said, put the blood on the two side posts of the upper door of the houses, and that was how I would say, what do you call him? The night death, what they call the death angel, knew not to go to that house. And then it said also they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast fire. And so basically you're eating the flesh, the lamb, in that night with unleavened bread and bitter herb. That's it.
All right. May the Most High be praised. Let me ask you the question. When was that supposed to be done?
Before the night comes. My dad's calling me. 1 second. I'm sorry, 1 second, babe.
All right, Sister Sadia, anyone else in the room? Remember, this is the time now when you put your commandment in the post your commandment on the side of the room, or you can take the link above and come into the room and recite your commandment if you so choose so. May the Most High be praised. All right, Ishi, you have a commandment for us?
Luckily, not yet. My apologies.
All right. No problema. All right. Sister Saadia's commandment is, wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Shabbat, to observe the Shabbat throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. Sister Saadia, did you put an explanation for that commandment, please? No matter where we are to keep the Shabbat. It is forever, not just when we are in the land of Yisrael. I really wish you was on the screen so I could, with some questions I would like to ask about that. But you're not, so I have to deal with what you say. I have to leave it at that. Many of you believe this only pertains to when we are actually in the land. And you're absolutely right. A lot of people only believe that you have to keep the Shabbat when you're in the land of Israel. But the Shabbat was supposed to be kept in all of your dwellings throughout all your generations. That means that the Creator knew we will go into captivity. But even in our captivity, he distinctly gave us a law that would keep us distinct from everyone else. Okay, Sister Saadia is coming on the screen. She said, I'm going to explain myself, Prince.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. How are you, sis?
Not hearing you.
You can't hear me? No, you can't hear me? All right, go out and come back in. She can't hear me.
Shabbat Shalom, Prince.
Can you hear me?
Is your mic?
My mic is on. I'm gonna get off and come back.
Yeah. She came in with that raw energy too, boy. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right, let's see if we can bring her to the stage. Can you hear us, sis?
Okay.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Shabbat Shalom to you. How are you?
Shabbat Shalom.
All right.
I'm well. Thank you. How are you?
May the Most High be praised. I'm good. I'm good.
Always.
All right, you want to do your commandment with everyone so everyone can hear it from your mouth?
Oh, yeah. So
Everyone can hear it from your mouth?
so I chose Exodus.
Yeah, those the background needs to be turned down or else they're going to get the feedback.
Okay. I chose Exodus 31:16. The Creator says, "Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant." And I chose this because a lot of times when I'm meeting people who identify as Israel, they are not keeping they're not keeping the Sabbath, because a lot of people feel that it's only pertaining to when we were actually in the land. But the Most High left on record, it's perpetual, so that's forever. And the Creator always said that he when he created us, he knew that we was going to go into captivity for our rebelliousness. So it's like wherever we are in the world, we are still required to keep the Shabbat and the holy days.
Okay, and we totally agree with that. All right, let's turn to the book of Esther, chapter 38.
Okay.
We're going to touch that, what you're talking about, for a minute. Esther, chapter 38. Yeah, let me know when you get it, sis. I mean, Esther, chapter 3, verse 8. I'm talking about chapter 38. You have it, sis?
Not yet.
Okay, just let me know when you're ready.
Okay. Mhm.
No, not yet?
Oh, no, sorry. 1 second.
Okay.
Okay.
Esther.
You said 3?
the book of Esther, chapter 3, verse 8.
Okay. Okay. I'm there. Yep. I got it.
You want to read it?
Okay. The book of Esther, chapter 3, verse 8. Hallelujah. Haman then said to King Xerxes, there is a certain people scattered and dispersed among the other peoples in all the provinces of your realm, whose laws are different from those of any other people, or who do not obey the king's laws. And it is not in your majesty's interest to tolerate them.
Now, this lets us know that at that time, the children of Israel was dispersed in Persia, in Susa. Matter of fact, in Susa. Mordecai, Hadassah, they all lived in Susa. And Susa is a Persian kingdom. And they were not in the land of Israel, but yet they still kept the laws of the Almighty. Do you follow me?
Okay.
So what that does is that confirms what you said. That confirms what you said about our people keeping the laws of the Creator, specifically the Shabbat, and how a lot of our people feel like the laws are done away with. You don't have to keep the Creator's laws in the land of your captivity, but you do. The Creator's laws should always be kept in all of your dwellings, in all of your generations, wherever you are. And a lot of people will try to teach you to the contrary of that.
Absolutely.
A lot of people will try to teach you the opposite of that, but yet you should still be in the proper spirit and keep the laws of the Most High, even in the land of your captivity. And we have to remember that because it's needed and necessary. So the commandment that you brought up was a good one. I want to present something else to the family too. Show you. Oh yeah, I mean that's a powerful commandment, sis. I mean, Bati, that's a powerful commandment, and a lot of people don't understand that. So let me just jump on this one for a second. Now here we got. Let me see if I can make it a little bit smaller, just so it'll fit in the screen. Okay. Here we got the book of Daniels. And Daniels, it reads like this. I'm going to start at verse 9. To the Creator, to the Most High, our Elohim, belonging mercy and forgiveness. We have rebelled against him. Now, this Daniel in the land of Babylon, which is not in the Holy Land, and have not obeyed the voice of the Creator, our Elohim, by walking in his laws, which he set before us, his servants to the prophets. All of Israel, Yisrael, has transgressed your laws and turned aside, refusing to obey your voice, and curse and oath that are written in the laws of Moshe, the servant of the Most High, have been poured out upon us because we have sinned against him. He has confirmed his words which he have spoken unto us and against our rulers who rule us, by bringing upon us a great calamity. For under the whole heavens there has not been done anything like which have been done against Yerushalayim. For it is written in the law of Moshe, all this calamity has come upon us, yet we have not entreated the favor of the Most High, our Elohim, turning from our iniquities and gaining insight by your truth. Therefore, the Most High kept ready the calamities and has brought it upon us. For the Most High, our Elohim, is righteous in all the words that he has done, and we have not obeyed his voice. And now, O our Most High Elohim, who brought your people out of the land of Mitzrayim with a mighty hand, and have made a name for yourself as it is this day, we have sinned. We have done wickedly. So he admits that, you know, the Creator gave us a law for us to obey, for us to abide by. And we know our forefathers, but even us currently today, we don't keep this law of the Creator. The commandment that you brought forward was one of the laws of the Almighty that we were required to keep, but we didn't. Therefore, there's a heavy penalty for us to pay in reference to keeping of the laws of the Creator. Let me ask you a question particularly, though. Sister Saadia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm listening.
Now, why do you think people, just your opinion, we know you're not a master or a scholar, or you're not in nobody's brain, but why do you think it is that the people choose not to keep the Sabbath day and keep the laws of the Creator? Other than for them singing what they say, why do you think the real reason is?
I think that the reason why is because they're still rebellious. They have a rebellious spirit and they lack discipline. That's why I think they do it.
They're still rebellious. So by them being rebellious, what is it about their rebellion that keeps them away from keeping the Creator's laws?
I would say like the spirit of idolatry. Like some people still they put money over, like they'll worship money over the Creator. Some people worship I guess in their terms having a good time, because like in this secular society, Fridays and Saturdays are like the days where everybody's out and doing whatever nonsense that they're doing. So I would say it's more of idolatry, because they're putting their own desires or what they think is better over the Creator. They're not really serving the Creator.
That's a very good answer. Very good answer. I couldn't have said it better. You hit it around the head. It's because of our own desires, our own pleasures. And a lot of them, they just want the money. Therefore, they work on the Shabbat and make up an excuse that I have to take care of my family. The Creator will forgive me. The Most High, this is their famous one. The Most High knows my heart. Whenever an Israelite is out of order, you know, and he gets called on his BS, that's his fallback. You can't judge me. The Most High knows my heart. And that's what they do. So I thank you, sis. Very good commandment. Thank you for your participation. All right.
Thank you also, Prince. Thank you for the other scriptures as well.
Always keep them in your arsenal. Keep them in your arsenal, because, you know, that's how I used to combat those who said that we can't keep the Creator's laws in captivity. So if we can't keep the laws of the Most High in captivity, that means that this man can sleep with that man's wife. You know, that means that this man can impregnate that man's daughter and ain't got to take care of him, ain't got to marry her. She could have been a virgin, ain't got to marry her, could just let her go. You know, these are all the things we can walk around with hatred, envy, and jealousy in our hearts toward our brothers, our sisters, and anyone. We don't have to share with anybody. We can just live a foul life and do whatever we want to do. Then if the Most High allowed that to happen to us, how would the Most High judge who's righteous and who's not?
Right.
It's just something to think about. Thank you for your cooperation and participation, sis.
You're welcome.
Aim Kater, you have a commandment that you posted. Did you want to come to the screen and speak, or did you just want me to read? Well, I guess if you posted it, you want me to read it. But if you choose to come to the screen, you're welcome. It says, Shabbat Shalom. My text, Leviticus 19:14. I see cursing as deliberate devoting others of what they need to thrive, survive, and exist daily and with dignity. We are told not to curse our people, period. This particular text can be interpreted literally or figuratively. We may not see to take advantage of or get over on others who physically, conditionally, educational status, or act of knowledge may cause them to live at disadvantages. We should always seek to help our people live with dignity. Most High requires it. Very good. Now let me see what this commandment is. Leviticus 19 and 14. Okay. Let me go there first. Leviticus 19 and 14. All right, Leviticus 19 and 14, and this is how it reads. You shall not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but you shall fear the Most High. I am the Creator. All right, there you go. Very good. Thank you very much. May the Most High be praised. Very good commandment. You know, sometimes putting a stumbling block before the blind means just simply, if you have the ability to help somebody to get out of a situation they don't know how to get out of, if you don't help them and it's in your power to help them, then you can also be guilty of that, putting a stumbling block before the blind. Just by allowing that stumbling block to be there, you had the ability to remove it. So because you didn't remove it, you're still putting that stumbling block before them. Now, it doesn't mean that they are necessarily blind with their eyes, but it means their minds is blind. They can't see the way. And if you know the way, you have the way, then it's incumbent upon you to teach them the way, to show them the way. And that's where a lot of people fall off at. May the Most High be praised. Thank you, Aim. Very good one. Imai, did you want to say something?
No.
Is any of those all those people that were still in your room, or any of them still there that wants to give a commandment?
Oh, no, they're not here.
Oh, they gone quick. They said, "Oh, Prince gonna call us up. Come on, let's get out of here. Let's go." Pew, and they gone. All right.
I'm ready, Abba.
All right.
Oh.
1 second. Would the stumbling block also refer to acts of deception as well? Well, acts of deceptions would only be applicable if those acts of deception has prevented you from advancing. If it have, because you can deceive somebody and it's not always an evil thing because you deceived them, meaning that sometimes you might deceive them for their own benefit to prolong their life so that they don't do something that will end up taking their lives. You follow what I'm saying? But if you're deceiving somebody and it's prohibiting them from being advanced or moving forward or receiving a blessing, then you are putting a stumbling block before the blind. May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah. I'm 39 3/4 years old. How come I got the hiccups? Hiccups for little babies, ain't it?
Age limit on it.
Did you want to say something?
You know they say hiccups are for babies and elders.
And what?
Elders.
Well, I gotta be 50 years old to be an elder. I'm 39 3/4, so stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Isha, you had a commandment you wanted to give?
Okay, Shabbat Shalom. Mine is from Shemot or Exodus, chapter 13, and I'm reading a few different verses, so it's like 1 through 8, 1 through 7. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but he wants to give his commandment first.
Okay. Say Shabbat Shalom. It starts with, and the Most High spoke unto Moshe, saying, sanctify unto me all the firstborn, whosoever opened the womb among the children of Israel, both of man and of beast, it is mine. And Moshe said unto the people, remember this day in which ye came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage, for by strength of hand the Most High brought you out from this place. There shall no leavened bread be eaten. This day came you out in the month of Abib. And it shall be when the Most High shall bring thee into the land of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, which he sware unto thy fathers to give thee, a land of flowing with milk and honey, that thou shalt keep this service in this month. 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, and in the 7th day shall be a feast unto the Creator. Unleavened bread shall be eaten 7 days, and there shall no leavened bread be seen with thee, neither shall there be leaven seen in thy quarters. So that's verse 1 through 7. So the first part, I was going to use the first part of verse 2 as my commandment, which the Most High said, sanctify unto me all the firstborn, whosoever opened the womb among the children of Israel, both of man and beast. But that, I guess I can talk about it a little bit. That to me is the Most High saying, it talks about, he's telling the children of Israel to sacrifice their firstborns, basically as kind of a payment for what he did to get us out of Egypt, which was take all the firstborns of the Egyptians and Pharaoh's children and things like that. But that's not the commandment I wanted to focus on. I more so wanted to focus on this latter half, which is pretty much a description of the days of unleavened bread. So after the Passover, which comes like later, but the description of Passover, but after Passover, that day for day 1 through 7, we are not supposed to have unleavened bread. There shall be no leavened bread seen with thee in thy quarters, in thy body at all. We shall take all things that create leaven outside of our dwellings, outside of our personal spaces. And we shall not partake in them for first day after Shabbat, not Shabbat, I'm sorry, first day after Passover to the 7th day after Passover. And it says on the 7th day shall be a feast to the Creator. So that's my commandment. And I believe, did you want to say your commandment? No? He's just staring at me. Okay. Shalom.
All right. May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabbah. That was a very good commandment. I want to say something about that commandment.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I want to say something about that commandment. If you all was listening when she read that, it said something like, you should not have leaven in your houses, neither should you have anything that can cause leaven. A lot of people don't understand what that, they don't even allow their minds to comprehend what that means. One is comets, you can't have it in your house, and one is Seor. And Seor is the agents that causes leaven. So the things that causes leaven, you're not to consume, you're not to have in your house, and you're not to eat them for 7 days. Neither can you have anything that is leaven in your house or in your body. You can't eat for 7 days. And a lot of people still eating that poison. They fry food and they flour it and they eat it. And there's only certain types of flour that you can have. I think it's a durum flour, but it's a durum flour with no additives at all, no extra added anything. It's just flour, wheat and flour, period. You have to be careful about that because Pesach is coming up. And I think we have Pesach at April the 13th, I believe it is, 2025. I believe April the 13th, I believe, is Pesach 2025. But you can't have those things, so you have to clean your house. If you reside in a house and you're going to be residing in that house during the week of Passover, that whole feast of Passover week, the week of unleavened bread, if you're going to be in your house at that time, you have to go through your house and clean all those products out of your house. Clean them all out. You have to. So it's not just that you can't eat it during the week. You can't have it anywhere where you reside at, sleep basically, and live for that time. you shouldn't have anything leavened there. So therefore, you have to remove all those things that causes leaven as opposed to leaven itself. All right? Are there any questions pertaining to that? You can always ask your question and we'll address it. But a lot of people who hear these things and understand these things don't do these things. We think, a lot of us think that it's okay that as long as we don't eat anything that has leaven in it through that week, that we cool. And we not. You have to have wherever you dwell, reside, stay, live, sleep, wherever that place is, you can't have any leaven. It don't mean you come in and walk out of a place. That's not what it means. It means you come in and you reside in that place, you resting, you chilling, you know, that's residing. So it's talking about that type of a place that these things shouldn't be. So we have to be careful when Pesach comes around that we don't do these things. May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabbah. All right. So is there anyone else who has a commandment?
I have a question.
Yes.
When the time is right, may we go over the festival of Hanukkah and the origins? I'm only asking because I think I remember how it came about, but I'm not sure, and I want to be sure. And also, there are a few Jewish kids at the school I work at that celebrate that. So I just want to make sure I have all my facts straight. And I know some of our people celebrate it, some of us don't, some of us do. So I just wanted to talk about it briefly, if that's okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not skilled to go into depth about Hanukkah. I can talk on the surface of Hanukkah, but I can't go into the depths of it because I've never studied it on that level. Hanukkah is not one of the holy days that I subscribe to because it's not Torah commanded by the Almighty for us to do. So therefore, I don't pay it too much mind. There are other Israelites who do Hanukkah, who hold Hanukkah as a traditional holy day, but Prince don't. I just don't, you know. Anything the Creator tell us to do, that's where I'm at. Those things that man made up, I don't really deal with. But I know that Hanukkah, they have 8 days, I believe it's 8 days of gift giving. But what it is that during the time of Esther that we just read about, when they were at war and fighting, they didn't have light to keep the menorah lit. I believe it was on the time of Esther. It might have been John Hyrcanus. I think it was Esther. But they didn't have the light to keep the menorah lit for a certain period of time. And they only had a certain amount of oil. So they prayed, and the Most High let their light stay lit for that period of time. Somebody put in there the Maccabees. Is that that's what it is? John Hyrcanus and them? Judah Maccabees? That might be them. It was one of those two stories. But it's all about, I told you I didn't study this into grave detail, so I wouldn't know everything. But I do know it had something to do with the menorah. See that candlestick behind my head? That's called a candelabra. It's called the menorah, and it has 7 leads on it. But the Jewish has 8 leads on it. And supposedly they had it lit for 8 days without it going out, but they didn't have enough oil for 8 days. So they consider that to be a miracle. And then after that, they began to celebrate a holy day that they considered to be a holy day. And now we've taken a part of it and we do the same thing. All right, Toda Rabbah. So there we go. She says Purim is Esther and that Hanukkah is the Maccabees. So I knew it was somewhere in that ballpark with the two, but I was honest with you from the door. I don't do it. So therefore, I don't study it. I don't even seek to learn the knowledge of it. I guess I'm going to have to learn the knowledge of it. So if I'm asked that question, then I can answer correctly, right? I got to learn that knowledge, right? So if I'm asked again, then I will know. Shabbat Shalom, Mr. Otter. All right, so there we are. There we have it with Hanukkah. But I know Hanukkah is about gift giving. All right. May the Most High be praised. Is there anyone else who wants to give a commandment? Is there anyone else who wants to give a commandment? No one else wants to give a commandment. Okay. This is the best part of the day, ain't it, y'all? Nobody shows up. All right, so here we go. So if there's no one else, Sister Saadia says gift giving for Jewish people. Purim is gift giving for Yisrael. Okay. All right. So y'all know I ain't getting no gifts on those days. I'm out the equation. So let's get to it, y'all, because obviously nobody's going to be giving any other commandments because nobody's typed them in the room and nobody else has come on the screen to lend their opinion about giving a commandment. We have several people in the listening audience, but nobody's coming up to speak. Nobody's typing. So we're going to move forward. Do we have a reader for today? Is there anyone we have that will be doing a reading for us today? Or do Prince need to do his own reading today? Okay. Looks like Prince is going to do his own reading today. It's okay. We're going to get it in. Y'all ready to get it in? Then let's get it in. All right, let me flip these pages so that we can all be involved. All right, you ready?
Ready.
Sister Saadia is coming on the screen. Sister Saadia, you all right?
Ready.
Yes, Prince. I can read for you. You guys can hear my squeaky voice.
Ain't that nice? Ain't that nice? All right, you have your scriptures?
Yes. Where are we starting?
Thank you for volunteering. We're going to start in Genesis, the 10th chapter.
Okay.
Genesis chapter 10. And you can start at 10 and 1. Now we did 10 last week, but I need to go through it again just to get us up to date. All right, so just Genesis 10 and 1.
Okay. We are in the book of Bereshit 10, verse 1. Hallelujah. These are the lines of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah. Sons were born to them after the flood. The
Now
descendants of
this means that after the flood, Shem, Ham, and Japheth had children. Now, we did 10 last week or the week before, so I'm not going to give you the same things that I gave you last week. I'm going to give you a few other things. Some things may be similar, but most things will change, okay? Read on, sis, please.
Okay. Verse 2, the descendants of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Teres.
The descendants of who?
The descendants of Japheth.
Japheth. Now, Japheth is Noah's son. Questionable, rather, what age range they go in. First, second, third, the youngest, the oldest, the middle. It's weird how some places will have them one way, but you see right here, his genealogy is listed first. Well, that will give you the impression that he is the oldest, but we can't say that for definite. We don't know for sure. Now, the ascendants of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Tubal. Let's just deal with the first three. Gomer and Magog. These are German nations. These are German nations. The whole of Japheth, all of his children, and even his grandchildren were all up in the colder regions of the earth. They all went up into the colder regions of the earth, into the cold, like England, like Germany, like Russia, and like Poland. And the Polish people are descendants from Gomer as well. You know, Gomer being the child of Japhet. And then you get to the sons of Gomer, you talk about Ashkenaz, Rephah, and Togarmah. And Togarmah, a lot of these names that you're reading are actually places, but these places was named after the individual that you're reading about. All right, go ahead, read on, please.
Okay, verse 3. The descendants of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The descendants of Javan, Elisha, and Tarshish, the Kittim, and the Dodanim.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, these people are the Greeks. I believe that these are the Greeks that we're speaking about. Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim is where they're from. And I believe that these people are the Greeks, the Latins, the Greeks, and those Greek funny speaking people, European descent, that lives up in the cold mountains. But I want you to pay attention to how they close this out. Read on, please.
Verse 5. From these, the maritime nations branched out. These are the descendants of Japhet by their lands, each with its language, their clans, and their nations. Verse 6. The descendants of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The descendants of Cush, Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Raamah, and Sabteka.
Now let's talk about Cush. The sons of Ham, Cush, Egypt, which is Mitzrayim, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. All of them were famous people. Every one of them went down in history with fame. Every one. Let's deal with the first one. Cush, Cushite, Ethiopia. All through the Torah, you read about Cush and Cushite and Cushi. What was her? Moses, one of the women that Moses married in the 12th chapter of Numbers was a Cushite woman. That Miriam and Aharon got into trouble for making fun or saying some slurred gestures about Moshe for marrying a Cushite woman. She was an Ethiopian woman. Then you get to Egypt. Egypt, we all know what Egypt is. And then we get to Put. Put is a small little place right outside of Egypt across the sea. And a lot of people don't know that. And then Canaan. Besides Egypt, the most popular is Canaan. Canaan has had such an influence in the trading world throughout history, Canaanites. They were the first traders that I know of through history that traveled as far as Persia, India, China, in the European islands, and then come way back down into Africa and sell their goods, because that's what they were famous for. They were traders. I'm trying to think were they the Phoenicians? The Phoenicians, I believe they were the Phoenicians at that time that was doing all that trading. That was Canaanites. All right. Then read on, sis. Bati, read on, please.
Okay. Verse 8. Cush also begot Nimrod, who was the first man of might on earth. He was a mighty hunter by the grace of Ha Elohim. Hence the saying, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter by the grace of Ha Elohim.
Now stop there for a second. A lot of people try to place Nimrod to be a bad man, which he may have been. But at this particular place in scriptures, we can't see when Nimrod was a bad man. A lot of people say he was a mighty hunter, but they don't say that the Most High favored him. They say he was a mighty hunter, but yet he hunted men. Not that he hunted animals, but he hunted men, and he would ground up men and make men work as slaves and do all types of things. And last week in class, or 2 weeks ago in class, I told you that Nimrod went down in history because he married his mother. Her name was Semiramis, and he died. And then Semiramis mysteriously got pregnant after he died. And she gave birth. Well, she used to worship the Christmas tree, because she said that the Christmas tree never died. It was always green all year long, even in the coldest of winters. Therefore, she worshiped that Christmas tree. And she claimed that Nimrod's spirit came back to her and impregnated her. And then she had a baby whose name was Tammuz. Tammuz, Horus, one or the other. I believe it was Tammuz was their child, and Horus was the Egyptian deity. So this whole story about Nimrod, they paint picture for Nimrod to be such an evil and wicked man. And in my opinion, I don't know if that's rightfully due to Nimrod. He might have had a lot of haters out there that just was hating on him. You remember the class from earlier in the day? They was just hating on him. So therefore, they gave Nimrod something that Nimrod didn't deserve. So let's move on. Read on, please.
Um, 10. The mainstays of his kingdom were Babylon, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, and the land of Shinar.
Stop. Remember I told you they might be hating on Nimrod? Why would they be hating on Nimrod? Because Nimrod was the man back in the day. Nimrod, the beginning of Nimrod's kingdom was Babel. Babel went out throughout history, Babylon, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh. He was the man, and he was getting it in a land that they call Shinar. So now what we're getting ready to read about right now, family, is in the 11th chapter, which is the next chapter after this. We're going to read about the tower that was built in a land called Babel. That's where Nimrod was the founder of that place, Babel. This Nimrod was the founder of that place in Babel, and they try to give him all this negativity about these towers. Read on, please.
Okay. 11. From that land, Asher went forth and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and Calah. That is the great city.
We all know who the Ninevites are, right? It gives us a hint.
Yep.
It says, from that land went into Assyria, the Assyrians, and they built Nineveh. Nineveh was the capital of Assyria, the nation. Nineveh was their capital. Remember the story of Jonah? When Jonah went and had to go to Nineveh, he didn't want to go. He tried to avoid from going after the Creator told him to go, and the big whale ate him up, kept him in his stomach for 3 days, and then spit him out. Said, you're going to get there, spit him out on the shore. That was Nineveh. That was the Assyrians. So what we have here is we started in the time of Genesis. And I need you to know this. We started in the time of Genesis with the flood, and now we all the way down several hundred years into the future. Almost 1,000. Well, how many decades was this? Generations was this? I'm not even sure. 70 generations, I think this is talking about in the 10th chapter of Genesis. 70 generations, 70 families that is talking about. So we covered a lot of history in the future with this here being present right there, if y'all understand where I'm coming from. Read on, please.
13. And Mitzrayim begot the Ludim, the Anamim, and Lehabim, the Naphtuhim, the Pathusim, and the Casphohim, and the Caphtorim, whence the Philistines came forth.
All of these nations, most of them, not all of them, most of those nations was the ones that the Most High tells us in Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, not to marry, not to go into, not to be a part of. And a lot of that is because they had that curse on them. But the Most High said it, don't do this because they will cause your children not to serve me. That's why the Father said, don't do it. But I want you to also know this, that the land of Canaan that we renamed the land of Israel used to be named the land of Canaan. So these Canaanites that we're reading about, the sons of Ham, Canaan, the Canaanites, they owned, they ruled, they lived in that land, the land of Canaan, that was given to us by the Creator. Why did the Creator give us that land? He said he gave it to us because the people who inhabited it first was doing all types of abominations in that land. So that meant that the Most High was dealing with the people, not just the children of Israel. He was dealing with the people, but not like he dealt with us. That's the difference. He deal with everybody on the earth, but he don't deal with no one like he does with us, the children of Israel. So keep that in mind. They couldn't do what they had to do to please the Creator in that land, so the Most High kicked them out of the land. He took them out. Read on, please.
Canaan begot Sidon his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hivites.
There we go. That's them. Keep going.
Okay. The Archites, the Shinites, the Arvadites, the Zemarites, and the Hamathite.
There you
Afterward,
go. That's those people that we're prohibited from marrying. Read on, please.
okay. Afterward, the clans of the Canaanites spread out. The original Canaanite territory extended from Sidon as far as Gerar, near Gaza, and as far as Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim near Lasha. These are the descendants.
Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. These are the descendants of Ham, according to their clans and languages, by their lands and nations.
So let's go to the next one. Those are the descendants of Ham. Now, the Ham's descendants was what they call Ham or Ham, which means dark, or burnt or warm. All right. Now, these descendants lived in Africa. They lived in Africa is a whole lot larger than what you understand Africa to be today. Africa was big. Matter of fact, our land, Yisrael, or the land of Canaan, was in Africa. I believe they call that Northeast Africa. All of that was a part of Africa. It was all a part of that territory. And it wasn't until the Europeans came later and start sectioning it off and calling the little bit further than that the Middle East. I don't know where the middle is. I don't know where the bottom middle is, but they call that the Middle East. And then they got Asia, Europe, China, and all these other places ripped up. But they went all up in the middle where Babylon, where ancient Susa, where ancient Sumeria, where all those places are, Persia. They went up in all those places and cut them all up and pretended as if they wasn't in Africa any longer. So let's read on, please. Chapter and verse, please.
We are in the chapter. We're in Genesis chapter 10, verse 21. Hallelujah.
May the Most High be praised.
Sons were also born to Shem, ancestor of all the descendants of Eber.
And as I said last week in class, why did they mention Eber right here? Eber is a great-grandson of Shem. They went down 2 generations to mention Eber. Why? The irrelevance is because Eber is where you come from. Arphaxad, Eber, Selah, Eber, and then you. At the Peleg and Nahor and Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and then you. All right? Then you come out. But you came out of Eber by way of Shem. Read on, please.
All the descendants of Eber, an older brother of Japhet. 22. The descendants of Shem, Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The descendants of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. 24. Arpachshad begot Shelah, and Shelah begot Eber.
Now, out of Eber, all the Hebrews are born. You don't have to be a Hebrew Israelite to be Hebrew. You can be Hebrew without being an Israelite. You can't be an Israelite without being Hebrew. Do y'all follow the difference? Read on, please.
25. 2 sons were born to Eber. The name of the first was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided.
Stop.
And then
Stop, please. A lot of people, I recently come across this knowledge, so I'm going to share it with y'all just because they teach it. I don't accept it, but they teach it, so I want you to know what's out there. A lot of people teach that Peleg must have been during the time of the Tower of Babel, because in the Tower of Babel, the nations was dispersed, the nations was divided. That's what they say, because the nation was divided. The Creator says in the scripture that we're reading that the earth was divided, and the earth is Eretz. Eretz is land. The land was divided. Prince teaches that this, during his lifetime, was a thing known as continental drift, when the earth itself began to be separated and land began to move in different areas. Land that was once connected together now began to drift and to separate. And this is how you get other people in other nations all across the world that look like you, that look like me. Because the original inhabitants, Noah, Shem, Shem, and Japheth, Noah still is in the earth too, but they went in and populated different regions of the earth, and then the land started moving slowly but surely as people was living on this land, and they came to places like what we call the modern days America. Now, in America, think about it for a minute, family, because a lot of us know America as a European's name. But there's been some research out there that's been done. I know what I said earlier, these European names. America is a European name. But there's been some research out there that speaks about a tribe that they found in what we call America called Amari. And that Amari tribe is supposed to be descendants of our forefathers from Africa, Israel, and those types of places. Supposed to be Amari, something like that. And a lot of people are claiming that that might be where they got the name America from, but I don't know if that's a fact, because I do know that a man named America Vespucci was one of the ones that they supposed to name America after. So I don't know how much of a fact America Vespucci is, and I don't know how much of a fact that tribe Amari was, but I believe it was more so America Vespucci that the Europeans gained their name from. But that tribe Amari could have still been, which I believe it may have been, could have still been in existence. My discrepancy is coming when they say that they named America after that tribe. That's where my discrepancy is coming in at. All right. So that's for you to do the research, look it up and investigate it and see what you can find out. And if you find out some information, bring it forward, please, because we can use it. All right. Read on, please.
So we're in the middle of verse 25. And the name of his brother was Joktan. 26. Joktan begot Almodad, Shelef, Hazar Madeth, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the descendants of Joktan.
All of these people were Hebrew. All of those nations were all Hebrew. Read on, please.
30. Their settlements extended from Misha as far as Sephar, the hill country to the east. These are the descendants of Shem, according to their clans and languages, by their lands, according to their nations.
All right, now let's stop for a second. You ever heard a European say you're anti-Semitic? they'll tell that to people that speaks against what they believe as them being the original people and being Hebrew, or however you come against them. That's their thing. You're anti-Semitic. European people, Jewish European people, have so much influence that they control the entertainment world in every aspect, almost televisions, Facebook, YouTube, all those things. They own them. They control them. In politics, they got power, pull, and rank all over the place. They did what we were supposed to do, and they got our reward for doing what we were supposed to do. They've done it. But they accuse people of being anti-Semitic. They themselves is Ashkenazi, and they'll tell you they're Ashkenazi Jews. All of them won't say it, but the majority of them will let you know they're Ashkenazi. And as you saw, Ashkenazi came out of Yafet earlier today. But when they bring up these accusations against people who offend them, they say you're anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitic, if you look it up in definition, it means that there are black people that's Semitic. Semitic means the language. That's what Semitic means. People who speak a Semitic language. They never call you anti-Shemitic, which means a descendant of Shem, because they could never make that claim because they didn't come out of Shem. They're out of Yafet, out of Gomer, his grandson, Ashkenaz. That's where they're from. They're out of Yafet, Ashkenaz, Ashkenazi. That's who they're from. And they understand that. So they will never make a claim and say you're anti-Shemitic because they know that they're not Shemitic and we are. We are Shemitic. So we can never make a claim against ourselves because we are those people. But they don't use the word Shemitic. They use the word Semitic, which means that you are against people of these languages. And in these languages, it covers Arabic, it covers Hebrew, it covers a lot of those languages in Africa. Semitism. Look it up sometimes when you get a chance. That's why you'll never hear the Europeans say this man is anti-Shemitic, because Shem ain't got nothing to do with this as far as they're concerned. Read on, please. Is there a question?
Kane, I had a comment, if that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, the first time I looked that up, I realized at first when I looked that up, I saw that there was a difference between the word Semitic and Shemitic, like you said. And when I first looked it up, the Semitic didn't even come up. It just went straight to Shemitic, right? It's almost, it almost was like Semitic was a made up word. So I'm not saying it is, but when I first looked it up, that's kind of how it was, that's kind of how I portrayed it, because it went straight to Shemitic. And then when I looked that up, it said people of African descent, of dark races of people, right? So if I'm understanding all this correctly, like you said, they can't say, oh, to us, you're anti-Shemitic because they don't come from Shem. But we can say it to them. They're anti-Shemitic because they're the ones that are against us in real time, in real life. Wouldn't that be an accurate statement?
That's 1,000% accurate statement. As a matter of fact, as one of my good elders would say all the time, matter of fact, in the Reuben Alkaline Dictionary, and I have one in here, if you look up black man in the Reuben Alkaline Dictionary, it says Hasatan.
Wow.
In the Reuben Alkaline Dictionary, I'll say it again. I got one right here in my room, right there. If you look up the word black man in the Reuben Alkaline Dictionary, it says Hasatan, the adversary. And that's deep. So that's how they feel about you. So we're going to move on with that. Are there any other questions or comments, family?
And my last thing, that they really, really bank on the fact that we are ignorant, not just us, but just the world, that we are ignorant of that statement. Because even though, like you said, they say Semitic, they're careful not to say you're anti-Shem because they can't claim that, right? But no, if you don't do the research to understand who the real Shemitics are, then you're just going to assume that that's who they're talking about. You get what I mean? Like, they're banking on your ignorance and lack of understanding for you to not question what they're saying and to not fully understand the difference between the two.
That's absolutely right. And most people don't question what they say. I can't wait for somebody to call them on their stuff and then stand on it. Because everybody that called them on their stuff that's in the entertainment world, they all back down. The only person I did not see black down was a woman. A black woman, but she married to a white man, but she's a black woman. And she called them out on their BS and she stuck to it. Candace Owens.
That's right.
She called them on their BS and she stuck to it. I wish that Candace Owens knew more about who she was as a child, as a servant of the Almighty, more about who she was supposed to be, so she can stand strong and represent this thing. You know, maybe in the Most High's time, something like that would happen. Right now. Not right now. All right, let's move forward. Any other questions or comments before we move on, family? All righty, here we go. You ready?
Ken,
Chapter and verse, please.
we're in the book of Genesis, chapter 10, verse 32. These are the groupings of Noah's descendants, according to their origins, by their nations. And from these, the nations branched out over the earth after the flood.
All right.
And
By these, the nation spread out. Now, 70 people. And I want you to know that within those 70 people, all of the earth was populated. Every nation of people, every tribe, every community, every organization on the earth came from those three men, or that one man and that one woman, Noah and his wife. No one ever knows Noah's wife's name. I'm sure there's other books like the book of Enoch who probably claims they have her name, but Torah never teaches it, so therefore we don't know it. And no one knows the wife's names of the brothers, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. No one knows, but I'm sure the book of Enoch, who has mysteriously come up with a lot of information, they probably say their names. I don't know. All right? But nobody knows those women's names. They contributed a lot. But all the people on the earth come from Noah and his wife, and then his sons and their Nashim. So now we get ready to talk about the Tower of Babel. Now, you remember what I told you about Nimrod? Remember what I explained to you about Nimrod? You remember what I explained to you about Peleg? Well, it's all going to come to life right here in this chapter. And I want you to pay close attention to this part where it says that these people came from the east. So what that means is that somebody came from somewhere to this place and did these things. But Nimrod founded the place. Read on, please.
Genesis 11, verse 1. Everyone on earth had the same language and the same words.
Now stop. Now the name of this chapter that we're reading about, it says the earth was of one language. It says now the whole earth had one language and the same words. Now, why did I name this chapter that? Because I want to start something. As you know how Prince is. Prince always trying to spring up something like nobody wasn't thinking about what he got to say. The whole earth was of one language and one speech. And anybody that's been following along knows my point is that is the animals was able to be understood by the humans. And the humans could actually understand the animals. Did y'all know that? No, Prince, that ain't right. That ain't true. You talking all this stuff. You add to the Torah. You ain't supposed to do this, Prince. Well, then let's go back to the book of Genesis. In the second chapter, the serpent, I mean, they say it was a serpent, it was Nakash, it was enchantment, it was a creature, it was a beast, was talking to Hawa, Eve. And Eve never said, wait a minute, what you doing talking? How come I can understand you? She spoke right back, right cool, calm, and collective, as if there was no problem. You know why? Because the earth was of one language. And that's how a lot of the corruption took place, because we was talking to the animals, animals talking to us, and we taught the animals how to be corrupt, how to be wicked, how to eat each other, how to cook each other. We eat them raw if they had to. We did all type of wickedness by talking to creatures and other people in this earth. The whole earth was of one speech. All the animals, all the people. We were some wicked people. There was a time when we could understand animals and animals could understand us, but all that had to stop. Let's read on. Let's see what we're talking about. Well, Prince, that's where I got to separate from you right there, bro. I can't say I can't teach that. I got to know, but it's true. It's a fact. But you can look it up later. Read on, please.
Can chapter 11, verse 2. And as they migrated from the east, they came upon a valley in the land of Shinar and settled there.
Now they came across a valley in the land of Shinar. Shinar was founded by Nimrod. He was the founder of Shinar, Nimrod. So these people from the east came to the valley of Shinar, and they found a place in the valley, and they settled there. And go ahead, read on, please. And
they said to one another, come, let us make bricks and burn them hard. Brick served them as stone, and bitumen served them as mortar.
Uh-huh. What they doing? What they doing right now? They said to one another, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly, that they had bricks for stone and bitumen for mortar. What is bitumen? Do anybody know what that is?
No.
Is it a paste?
Say it again.
Is it a paste?
Is it a paste?
Like my scripture says this has slime for mortar. So I'm thinking it's like a paste or something like that.
It is. It's something that they use to hold the bricks together. But I want you all to know that they also, this same bitumen, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this same thing is what they use in describing when Noah made the ark. This same type of substance. And this same type of substance was used to waterproof the wood, but it's now being used for the bricks, to waterproof the bricks. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Can.
The same bitumen for mortar, it wasn't just regular mortar. It was a waterproof substance that they was putting in there for water to keep water out. Why? What were they trying? I'm trying to open your mind for a little bit. What were they trying to prevent from taking place? They're trying to build a tower to reach to heaven. For what purpose? And they're going to waterproof the bricks. For what purpose? Now, I just want you to think. Just think. What are they trying to do? Does anybody have an idea?
Maybe they think there's going to be a second flood.
They're right. They're trying to prepare in case there's another flood. They're trying to prepare some type of way so that if there is another flood, they're protected. They can survive it. Because this tower that they're building will reach all the way up to the heavens, and the water can't go up into the heavens. Think, family. These people came together. Why are they trying to build it? Somebody else tell me why they're building a tower if they're not trying to preserve their life. What are they trying to do? They're trying to reach up into the heavens. For what reason? So they can escape the possibility of another flood. Read on. That's just an observation. Read on, please. Chapter and verse, please.
We're in the chapter of Genesis 11, and we're at verse 4. And they said, "Come, let us build us a city and a tower with its top in the sky, to make a name for ourselves, else we shall be scattered all over the earth."
Unless we shall be what?
Scattered all over the earth.
So how would a city and a tower reaching up to the sky prevent them from being scattered all over the earth as people? They already left from one land and came to another land. If there's a flood, they will be scattered, wouldn't they? They would have to run. They would have to hide in different places, but the water would flush them out and take them and move them, and a lot of them would die. And if the water resided and they was on other lands, then possibly they could have survived. But if they built a tower, and we can live in that tower and run and possibly wait it out. I mean, it's just the mind of man. And just wait it out till the waters resided, then we can all still stay together. But the Most High is going to intervene in all this, because the Most High just gave a promise that no longer will he allow the water to come upon the earth to destroy all life like he did before. But a lot of people are not calling on the name of the Most High, not believing in the Almighty, and not living according to his truth. Read on, please, and let's watch what's happening. Come, let's read that part again.
Okay. Verse 4, and they said, "Come, let us build us a city and a tower with its top in the sky, to make a name for ourselves, else we shall be scattered all over the world."
Read on, please.
5, Elohim came down to look at the city and tower that man had built. And Elohim said, "If, as one people with one language for all, this is how they have begun to act, then nothing that they may propose to do will be out of their reach. Let us then go down and confound their speech there, so that they shall not understand one another's speech." Thus,
Oh, man. Let's stop for a minute.
Okay.
Let's stop for a minute. Y'all got me having a look and check this one up. Check this one out. Let me see. Hold up for a second. Let me just see what's really there. Because where we at? Genesis 11 and 7, 11 and 9. Let me see. Before I start teaching on it, I want to be right. 11 and 9.
11 and 7.
7?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Gibe Narda. All right. Come, and having gone down, let us there confound their tongue. I don't see the us in the Hebrew, and that's what I'm looking for. But then I do see we. Widibila. I do see we. Descend and confound. Nebula. But then nebula is actually the root of the word. All right, so I'm trying to see if it actually says, "Come, let us go down there and confuse." Us shows a relationship, because up here it says Yohe Wahe. In verse 5, it actually says, "And the Most High and Yohe Wahe came down to see the city and the tower." Now, this could be speaking literally, and it can be speaking metaphorically. We don't know. But it does say, "Come, let us go down and there confuse their language." But I have it in different translations. It says, "Come, and having gone down, let us there confound their tongue." Go, let us go down and there confound their language. So it's up in the air, and that would need further research. But even dealing with the understanding that we have of what Elohim is, then it's not really a problem or discrepancy. Understanding that Elohim means powers. Yohe-Wahe is the Most High. Ha Elohim is the power. Speaking of Yohe-Wahe, and that's where we can leave it at right there. But he's including his heavenly host and saying, let us go and check this thing out. And the Most High, Yohe-Wahe. Now I'm going to let you read that part. Read on, please. Verse 7, start at 7, please. Shalom. Sister Saadia, are you
I'm
present?
here.
Okay, go ahead. Read on, please.
Okay. Chapter 11, verse 7. Let us then go down and confound their speech there, so that they shall not understand one another's speech. 8. Thus Ha Elohim scattered them from there over the face of the whole earth, and they stopped building the city.
So
No.
what happened was they was building this city, and they was building this tower to reach the heavens. Some believe that this tower that they were building, it was building it so that it could be some kind of portal so that the gods could come down and go back and forth in the earth. Some people believe that type of theory, but who knows? I kind of like to stick to the fact that they was trying to prevent from another flood coming. And the evidence that I have that I would prevent would be the mortar that they used, the type of mortar that they used to build and burn these bricks extra thick, extra dark, extra hard. And then the mortar that they used to put the bricks together and the height that they was using to build the tower, as if they could prevent from the Most High destroying it. Well, the Most High said, come, let us go down and let us confound their languages so that one can no longer speak to another. Because let me make this clear to you. If a man can really speak to another man, then they can do some marvelous things. What we're doing here today is we're communicating with men. We're not speaking with them. What I'm doing right now is I'm communicating with you. I'm not speaking with you. Because if I was speaking with you, then we will understand each other on a supreme level. We will be like one. We will be walking and talking as one. We will move with the same agenda, with the same purpose. There will be no animosity. There will be no hatred. There will be no division. There will be no subdivision, secret agendas in the back of the plan. Well, Prince is this and Prince is that. And I don't like when Prince do that. None of those things would exist if I was speaking to you with the same language. But we're not speaking the same language because we're not speaking to each other. The Creator said the earth was of one language. That means that people understood each other. He said, now we got to confound them because nothing is out of their grasp as long as they work together in unity. Family, what does that say about our condition today? What does that say about our condition today? That means if we put our minds together, we work together. We leave all the pride and the arrogance and the ignorance out of the scene. Put all the ego behind us. Who has to be up in the front? Who got to be in charge? If we leave all those things out of the equation and we say, here I am, I'm present. What can I do to help this thing work? That's speaking with each other. That's being of one language. That's getting something done, something accomplished, something powerful. Understand what's happening. So the Most High said, we're going to prevent that and we're going to stop that from happening. Read on, please.
We're in the book of Genesis, chapter 11, verse 9. That is why it is called Babel, because there Ha Elohim confounded the speech of the whole earth, and from there Ha Elohim scattered them over the face of the whole earth.
Mm.
Verse-
He scattered them over the whole face. And see, that's what they try to say Peleg meant. And that's when the earth was divided, meaning that people went all over the earth. Why did he scatter them all over the place of the earth? Somebody tell me, please, if anybody knows. And my brother, Mr. Otter, I want you to think about something for a minute, Mr. Otter. Mr. Otter, what was the sin of them building a tower in a city that reached up into the sky? What would the sin be? Because if there's no sin, why would the Most High destroy it? You see? It had to be something done that caused the Almighty to say, I got to take this out of their hands. In my reference, the sin would be trying to prevent the Most High's works from taking place. So now here's the second part of that question. Why did the Most High see it fit to confound their language and then spread them in all these different places on the earth? You know why he spread them upon all the different places of the earth? Because that's what they were trying to prevent from taking place with them. Look at verse 4. And they said, come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top into the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves, unless we be dispersed over the face of the whole earth. So therefore, the Most High says that this is what you want to do so that you don't get dispersed. Bang, I'm going to blot out your language and your tongue, and I'm going to separate you all over the earth. And therefore, we got all these different people not working together from that day forward to build anything monumental, anything that could last forever, making any power moves in the way that we could. And today, we, Israel, today, we're a living example of talking to people, but not yet being able to speak with people and be of the same language as people. Now, you might be able to speak their language, speak their tongue, and you think about it for a second. When you're able to, let's say, you got a bunch of Dominicans or Puerto Ricans, Spanish-speaking people, and then they come in the midst of a bunch of black people. The black person that speaks their language, they gravitate more to that black man just because he speaks their language. And the Dominican or the Spanish or the people, Portuguese people that speak English, you gravitate more to them because they speak, y'all can communicate better than those who don't. It's just simple. Y'all can communicate better than those who don't. So when people begin to speak your language and y'all work together and y'all build a bond and there's no hatred, no animosity, and y'all are actually building with the same purpose in mind, you will achieve things that you cannot achieve just being able to speak the same language of people. All right. All right, Mr. Otter, I got you, bro. I got you. Very good. Thank you very much. May the Most High be praised. Bati, let's go.
Okay. We're in Genesis 11, verse 10. This is the line of Shem. Shem was 100 years old when he begot Arpachshad, 2 years after the flood. After the birth of Arpachshad, Shem lived 500 years and begot sons and daughters.
None of the other children of Shem are relevant in this story. The only child that is a direct lineage of Shem that's relevant to this story is Arphaxad. Why? Because Arphaxad is going to beget Shelah. And Shelah is going to beget Eber. And out of Eber come all the Hebrews. And out of all the Hebrews is going to come Terah, Nahor, and Abraham. And you'll see. None of his other children was even necessary. Read on, please.
Okay. We're in Genesis 11, verse 12. When Arpachshad had lived 35 years, he begot Shelah. After the birth of Shelah, Arpachshad lived 403 years and begot sons and daughters. 14. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he begot Eber. After the birth of Eber, Shelah lived 403 years and begot sons and daughters.
Mm. If you notice, the length of their days is getting shorter and shorter. Well, go ahead, let's read. Some of them going to pick up, but then they're going to fall off. Read on, please.
Okay. 16. When Eber had lived 34 years, he begot Peleg. After the birth of Peleg, Eber lived 430 years and begot sons and daughters. 18. When Peleg had lived 30 years, he begot Reu. After the birth of Reu, Peleg lived 209 years and begot sons and daughters. 20. When Reu had lived 32 years, he begot Sharug. After the birth of Sharug, Reu lived 207 years and begot sons and daughters. 22. When Sharug had lived 30 years, he begot Nahor. After the birth of Nahor, Sharug lived 200 years and begot sons and daughters. 24. When Nahor had lived 29 years, he begot Terah. After the birth of Terah, Nahor lived 119 years and begot sons and daughters. 26. When Terah had lived 70 years, he begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran.
Now stop right there, please. All the way up at the 10 verse, it says, these are the generations of Shem. When Shem was 100 years old, he fathered Arphaxad. 2 years after the flood, this man was 100 years old, still having children. And Shem lived after he fathered Arphaxad 500 years and had other sons and daughters. So Shem lived to be 600 years old. Shem was still alive when Abraham was born. During Abraham's life, he had the opportunity or the pleasure to be in the company of Shem, possibly, because Shem was still alive. There's other writings that say that denote something similar to the fact that there was a book that was written that Shem wrote. And this is how, when the Most High says, now this is just hypothesizing right now, Mr. Otter, don't hold my head to it. All right, Mr. Otter, don't hold my head to it. That this book was written by Shem. And when the Most High says that Abraham kept his law, it is believed that they're talking about that law coming from Shem and how men should conduct themselves, how to be a righteous individual. They believe this history points out, people teach, things show, even scripture support it a little bit, that there was something for the Most High to judge people by, and it was something that was written by Shem, the most righteous man on the earth at that time, after his father, Shem. This is why he lived to see Abraham's birth. Even during the lifetime of Abraham, Shem was still alive. And he passed, he was 600 years old when he passed. But if you add up all these ages, you'll see that 600 years hasn't passed. Read on, please.
10. Okay, so we're in Genesis 11, verse 28.
27, isn't it?
Oh, 27. Slicker. Now this is the line of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran begot Lot.
Now, you know who Lot was, right?
Ken.
Lot, Abram's nephew. Read on, please.
28. Haran died in the lifetime of his father Terah, in his native land, Ur of the Chaldeans. Abram and Nahor took to themselves wives, the name of Abram's wife being Sarai, and that of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Iscah. Now Sarai was barren, she had no child. 31. Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, the son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, the wife of his son Abram, and they set out together from Ur of the Chaldeans for the land of Canaan. But when they had come as far as Haran, they settled there. 32. The days of Terah came to 205 years, and Terah died in Haran.
And Terah died in Haran. And Terah, according to, I think it's the book of Numbers, Terah practiced idolatry. Terah taught his son Abram to practice idolatry, but Abram wouldn't do it for some reason. Abram had that spirit, and the Most High just wouldn't let him participate and do what his father was doing. All right, and they went out Terah and camped at Terah, and they set from Terah. All right, I thought it was in the book of Numbers, but I don't see it in the book of Numbers. All right, so I'm gonna look it up now because y'all got me wondering where. Well, okay, here it is. And Joshua, all the people, thus says the Most High, the Elohim, long ago, your fathers lived beyond the Euphrates, Terah, the father of Abraham, Nahor, and they served other gods. There it is right there. Joshua chapter 24, verse 2. Yes. Joshua chapter 24, verse 2. And it says, and Joshua said, tell all the people, thus saith the Most High, the Elohim of Israel, long ago, your fathers lived beyond the Euphrates. Terah, the father of Abraham and of Nahor, and they served other gods. So at one time, your father Abraham practiced idolatry. At least he was, at the bare minimum, he was taught to practice idolatry. But our father Abraham, the Most High called him out from all of those things, just like you, just like me. He called us out from all the things that we used to do here in the earth, and he brought us into himself. You got to recognize yourself as being special, as being gifted, as being blessed by the Creator. You have to see yourself in that light, family. For that's who you are. That's what you are. And the Most High had mercy on you in your condition of practicing idolatry for all the years that you have done it, just like he did for our father Abraham. Nahor still practiced idolatry. His children still practice idolatry. But Abraham was pulled out. He was pulled out. He pulled him out. And the Most High had mercy on him. And he taught him his thing. And now here we are speaking about him in our conditions today, praising the Most High because Abraham was obedient to him. And Abraham passed it down to his children and his children after him and after him and after him. And they served the Most High. And now we went into a land of our captivity, thousands of miles away from our homeland, and we too are still doing our best to serve the Almighty. May the Most High be praised. Thank you very much for reading for me today. I greatly appreciated it.
Lodabar, Toda.
Yes. And Mr. Otter, I don't know what you're trying to say, Mr. Otter. You want to say something, Mr. Otter? Because I don't know what you're trying to say. You had me. I mean, I understood your argument a while ago. Maybe I should go back and read some of the things you say. For clarification purposes only, Prince Baruch Elohim, but can you show me in the book where it said tower was being built for prevention, reason, flood? I cannot verbatim show you those words, Mr. Otter. But as I gave through the lesson, the reason why I think they may have been doing that to prevent from the flood was because of the type of mortar that they used and how high they actually built it, and the fact that they had just came out of a flood several hundred years prior to them building that structure. That's all. That's my only evidence. I can't use any other evidence. and other than the fact that they said that they didn't want to be dispersed all over the earth anymore. So that will be it, Mr. Otter. And if that's not good enough, if that's not acceptable enough to cause you to understand that, you know how we do. We hold on to the things that we feel is best and what's right, and that's what we move with. We ain't got to be perfectly in alignment with everything that we teach. As long as we walk together and build together and grow together and do what the Most High says for us to do, we cool. So if you want to say that they was building a tower and that's why they got in trouble for building a tower, then I'm in totally agreement with it. No problema. No problemo. None. All right. So there we go. Yeah, hold me to what I said, though. All right. May the Most High be praised. Are there any other questions or comments, family? Any other question or comments before we close this out?
Prince, I would like to say thank you for what you brought out in this lesson with even Shem, living and being able to see, his grandson, well, great, generations behind him. Because the Most High did say that would be a blessing that He would bestow upon us to be able to see generation after generation, and also that could also be, as you said, because Shem allegedly had wrote the books of how to live uprightly, why the Most High took Abraham the way he did, because when the Most High said that He knew that Abraham would be able to govern his household in his righteousness, it could be because of his descendant, his forefather, that walked uprightly before the Creator as well. So I would just like to say thank you for the lesson and for the patience and the clarity that you set, even in terms of your own understandings and what your thought was regarding the tower, regarding why waterproof motor was being used as well. Thanks.
You're welcome. May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabbah. That's what it's about. Anybody else want to contribute what they might have gotten out of the lesson today? Anyone else?
This lesson, Total Rabba Abba, once again, this lesson was very interesting because I have never heard that idea of the tower. That was the thing that stood out the most, to be honest. Your idea of why the tower was built, because I'm glad you posed that question. I was actually just about to type it, like, well, why would the Most High see fit to, disperse the people and confuse the languages? At that time, they must have been doing something that He didn't like or disapprove of, right? And it could be. I was always taught that they were building a tower. It says to go up to heaven. We know it says that, but maybe I more than that, I was taught that they were building the tower to actually meet or touch or see and feel the Creator in a sense, right? Like they were doing it to actually like go up to the heavens and actually be in the heavens, right? And that's what I was always taught. I think both explanations are valid. I think that either way, the Most High saw fit to not let that tower be built and to confuse them. He obviously didn't like that tower, whether it be because of they wanted to try to protect themselves from a future flood, and kind of how would you describe that? Like get in the way of the Most High's plans in a sense?
That's exactly what they were doing.
Right. Or whether they were trying to build it to actually go up and meet the Creator because they thought they could actually meet Him. Either way, the Most High didn't like the tower. So I'm glad you posed the question, because I was really thinking about that. Like, well, it had to be something that the Most High didn't like, because He saw fit to disperse them and spread them around and confuse them. So and maybe the Most High thought the mind of man is wicked. So what else could they be making this tower for, right? Other than something wicked in a sense. So
Correct.
That's kind of where I'm at with that. Thank you for your perspective as always, especially as the head of our household. And thank you for taking the time to make this lesson for us. And I'm looking forward to chapter 12.
May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabbah. Toda Rabbah. Any questions or comments? Any other contributions to the lesson? Anybody else want to speak on anything that they got out of the lesson today? No one else? The link is in the room if you choose to come on the podium, to the platform. All righty, nobody's stepping up. So it's time to step out. May the Most High be praised. May the Most High be praised. From everlasting to everlasting, the Most High is King. He is our King, our Master, our Savior, our all in all. All praise, glory, and honor belongs unto Him from everlasting to everlasting. All right, family, we're going to close this out. We're going to make prayer, and we're going to let y'all go because I know the sun is down, and a lot of y'all ain't here anyway. A lot of y'all ain't here anyway. You might have your screen on like you here. You might have your name in the room like you here, but your mind is somewhere else because the sun is down. As cold as it is out there, you shouldn't be nowhere. It's 21 degrees. It was 21 degrees here in Philadelphia earlier today. 21 degrees. Where you got to go at in the cold when it's cold like that? So you should be right here glued to your screen, participating in the Shabbat service. Let's make prayer, y'all. Berokata Abi Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Berokata Abi Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Berokata Abi Eloheinu Melech Haolam. A blessing art thou, our power, King of the universe. We come unto you at this time, Father, asking for permission to approach unto your throne. Abi, Tain la nu darik shaka. Asher naknu homing beametika. Teach us your truth, Most High, that we may walk in your ways, O King, that we may walk in your ways. So alaknanu ketot anaknu osim lifneata Abi. Forgive us all of our sins that we have committed before thee. Poteach lavin kol Yisrael. Open up all of our minds, that we may see you, that we may grow in the knowledge and the truth of you, that we may serve you to the best of our ability, that we may honor you in all of our thoughts, deeds, and ways. Teach us to truly surrender and submit ourselves to your will. And if there be any of us, Father, who are practicing idolatry unmistakably, not knowing that this is what we're doing, please have mercy on us and forgive us of our sins and bring us into the oneness and the fullness of you. Be as lenient and merciful as you can to us. Be as understanding and patient as you can with us. For we do know that no one knows the exact thing. All we know is what others have wrote before us and left on record. Doesn't mean that those things are true. Doesn't mean that those things are accurate. Doesn't even mean that those things actually happened. But this is all that we have to go by. And if your divine spirit had not given to us understanding and knowledge, then we couldn't accept those things. But because Your divine spirit is present upon us and allowing us to elaborate and bring forth information and collaborating information that have been left on record. We know that these things speak truth. Thank you, Father, for being merciful unto us, for helping us, guiding us, protecting us, and blessing us. Until next week, Father, look after us. Keep us all safe and strong and healthy, and teach us to be of one language and of one speech, so that we can unite this house of Israel and move out with a mighty hand and be pleasing and acceptable in thy sight. Thank you, Almighty King, O merciful power. Thank you for being our strength, our guide, our healer, our protector, and our comforter. It is unto thee, our power, our King, unto thee do we all say, Toda, Abi, Abi, Toda Rabah. Thank you, Father, for hearing our prayers. Toda. All right, family. No problem. May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabah. All right, family, before we close out, are there any comments, questions? Ima, did you have anything you wanted to say?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay.
I mean, besides, well, I gotta wait for you to give me the dates, so I can't really speak on that right now.
All right. May the Most High be praised. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.